Welcome, Climate Viewers. My name is Jim Lee from Climate Viewer News at climateviewer.com. It is November 22nd, 2017. Hope you're having a wonderful Thanksgiving tomorrow. And today we're going to talk about biofuels for contrail control. Now, I've talked about jet fuel geoengineering for quite a few years, since about 2013. And a lot of people are very confused about it. Tonight, I'm going to spell all that out. We're going to dispel a lot of rumors, and you're going to realize that you have heard about none of this on any chemtrail website ever. And that should be a red flag to you. Sure is for me. That's why I talk about it so much. So I'm going to bring a couple things up here on the screen. We're going to go through a lot of stuff tonight. I've been saving this one till I could prove it beyond a shadow of a doubt. And tonight we're going to do that with some very special patents at the end. Thanks to Max Bliss. So let me bring this thing up on the screen here. And let's go ahead and start doing some talking. So here's the general idea. I put this up on Facebook the other day, or today, 10 hours ago. And the idea is pretty simple. 3 quotes. 1. We need to heat the planet by 1.5 degrees to melt the poles to get to the gas and oil. Number 2, stratospheric water vapor from planes will heat the planet by 1.6 degrees. Number 3, IPCC. Let's limit heating to 1.5 degrees. All are saying the same damn thing. So who's melting the poles? Planes. How are they melting poles? Water vapor and contrail cirrus clouds. When did they know about this? 1961. Who's trying to stop this? Nobody. Have you ever heard of the Angel's proposal? Arctic natural gas extraction, liquefaction, and sales? A plan by the Arctic Methane Emergency Group to frack the Arctic to save us from methane doom? Have you heard about greenwashing or using fossil fuels to pretend you're green? Do you know about biofuels for contrail control? Who makes the clouds? Fossil fuel guys. Who stands to benefit? Fossil fuel guys. Who gets pooped on? Solar energy guys. So let's get to the real bottom line of what is the chemtrail conspiracy as I see it. Not as anybody else defines it, not as the people would have you believe about the hologram, Illuminati, Anunnaki, Morgellons spitting, nanodust particle spewing, bullshit fear porn version of chemtrails. We're going to talk about the real life, very conspiracy, nobody wants you to know about version of chemtrails. And it's all about dollars, fuel, things that you can actually talk to somebody about without looking very silly. So for those that want to be a hater, naysayer, or otherwise, this is one of 10 topics that I cover. This graphic up on the screen is one I just recently created, and it is called 10 Technologies to Own the Weather Today. I hope you guys will check that out on climateviewer.com. And you can see it's ionospheric heaters, sounding rockets, satellites, lasers, cloud seeding, cloud ionizers, stratospheric aerosol injection, ship tracks, contrail-induced cirrus, and water vapor pollution. So those are the topics I cover. I'm going to cover a couple real quick things before we get into the jet fuel thing. I have worked on a page for climateviewer.com/interviews. It's not up yet, but you guys can see all of the interviews I've been doing lately from Kate Magdalena Willens, Vinny Eastwood Show, Stephen Roberts, Chuck Ocelli, on down the list. I hope you guys will check these out as soon as I get them up. And I will be putting all my scheduled interviews up there in advance, so you guys will know where to tune in. Of course, I am still going to the Weather Modification Conference in Austin, Texas. I have reached $3,656 of my $10,000 goal. I really appreciate everybody's support. And if you guys will continue that support, we will reach that goal and magic will happen in Texas. So for those who don't know, this is the 21st conference on planned and inadvertent weather modification. Details on my solution to geoengineering here, and all the details about it there. Environmental Modification Accountability Act of 2018. Details on the whole thing, links to the conference right here, and check that out. So everything I'm talking about today, I pretty much said in 2015. And it's kind of funny because most people don't know about this to this day. But the US EPA basically tried to regulate this sky problem. And the Greens, the NGOs, they all, basically were trying to force the Obama administration and the NGOs of the world were trying to force the EPA to regulate greenhouse gases coming out of jet aircraft. And of course, they were trying to do that under the Clean Air Act. And I cried, foul. And I said, why don't we have a hearing? So I went there, and there's a video of it right here. And this is the transcript of what I said there. And what you'll see is that I was talking about how clouds were actually much greater threat to climate change than CO2 would ever be. Quotes like, contrails formed by aircraft can evolve into cirrus clouds indistinguishable from those formed naturally. These spreading contrails may be causing more climate warming today than all the carbon dioxide emitted by aircraft since the start of aviation. Whoa. An even worse quote. A single aircraft operating in conditions favorable for persistent contrail formation appears to exert a contrail-induced radiative forcing some 5,000 times greater than the recent estimates of the average persistent contrail radiative forcing from the entire civil aviation fleet. Whoa, let me translate that. One plane made a cloud that trapped more heat than all of the CO2 made by all of the planes forever. So that's a pretty big old quote. And then you hear things like aerosol cloud interactions are one of the main uncertainties in climate research. And you realize that these jackasses that are making these computer models predicting doom in 100 years from global warming, they don't have enough information to make those kinds of predictions. So there's another red flag. And then you find out that most of the clouds are actually made of metals, something I also said in my 2015 EPA hearing on C-SPAN. So all of this stuff I've said, but the thing that I think everybody missed was the thing about the biofuels. And down here near the bottom, reference number 17, we're going to break this thing apart today, and you guys are going to understand what the real plan is and the stuff that people don't want you to know about. So, quick little mention, somebody showed me this on National Institute of Health, assessing the direct occupational and public health impacts of solar radiation management with stratospheric aerosols. The thing is, these guys already know that all of these geoengineering proposals, putting metal aerosols in the air is a bad idea. Here's them linking to my old website, r3zn8d.wordpress.com. Used to be resonated.com. You guys might know me, but anyway, get lots of links like that. Link love from the government print things. Gotta love the little citations. Also, on a slight tangent, Climate Viewer 3D is back up after Bing Maps shut down my feed, but I went and did a fun little thing like this where I put up the International Civil Aviation Organization's flight navigation aids, VORs, worldwide. What? So we're going to track all of the highways in the sky, and there's going to be a reason for that coming up later in the video. You'll understand what I mean. So what the heck is a VOR? Kind of looks like this. Very high frequency omnidirectional rangefinder. These are for flights, and you can see that flights have airway routes, and that means that there are highways in the sky, and that might lead to some grids. I'm going to map all those grids on Climate Viewer 3D coming up soon. So with that being said, if you guys can help me, I am looking for a good flight API, because every time I go look for one of these, they tend to cost a whole lot of money. And all these guys have to be pulling their data from FTP servers somewhere. So if you could help me out, Jim@climateviewer.com, by sending me a credible free source of flight tracking data, I will also make that available on Climate Viewer 3D as soon as it hits my inbox. So back to this biofuel story. Grounded. How the ICAO failed to tackle aviation and climate change and what should happen now. 2010, ICAO print right here. This kind of really starts the ball rolling. And it comes on the heel of that quote I just gave you guys. So over here on this quote, the one about the 5,000 times greater, you can see in this image right here. Let's bring it up. This is a single E3 AWACS. All right. It's spiraling over the UK. It fans out. It makes a big ass cloud. The paper that was written about this, Lee et al. 2009, is the source of that quote. And the reason this happened was because of a volcano in Iceland that grounded all flights, similar to what happened in 9/11 when they grounded all flights and George Bush's plane took off and they saw the F-16s making chemtrails and they said, oh my God, the diurnal temperature range, yada, yada, quotes in the thing. But this one's a monumentally big one because when they saw this satellite observation of that E3 AWACS making a cloud that damn near covered the whole island, they said 5,000 times greater than any CO2. So because of this paper, Lee et al. 2009, there was a real big push. And you can see right here, 2010, ICAO. Oh shit, we're in trouble. Our clouds have been busted. So it gets real ugly real fast. And they try to scramble for a solution. Well, if our clouds are actually melting the poles and we're in big, deep doo-doo and we face carbon taxes because we thought that our CO2 was going to be okay. And we thought that we could get, a way out of this. But now that they've found out our clouds trap 5,000 times more heat than CO2, our carbon tax bill might be through the roof. Oh, but wait, the people who come up with carbon taxes are globalists. These globalist technocrats own planes. So you think they want to regulate themselves out of being able to fly their own private jet? Hell no. So what do they want to do? They want to go online, call you a conspiratard. You're a conspiracy theorist because you believe there's shenanigans going on in the sky over your head. Unfortunately for them, I've already done all the homework. And now you're going to know tonight. So what was their plan? What was their plan to deal with the chemtrail problem? Biofuels enlisted for contrail control. This article is dated 2013, which coincides with the start of my big talking about jet fuel. 2013, I started talking about this. Contrails might be the punchline in the culture these days, thanks to the imaginative folks who have rechristened them chemtrails and embroidered them with elaborate theories involving government and corporate misdeed. But contrails are pretty serious business for a less conspiratorial reason. Scientists believe these ice clouds generated by water exhaust gases from aircraft engines could have a real impact on the climate, perhaps by cooling temperatures during the day, and wait for it, and warming them at night. And that's a bunch of contrails spreading out, making cirrus clouds over Lisbon, Portugal. So they go on to talk about how they want to use these JP8 50-50 blends of biofuels, a camelina plant, and all this stuff. How they're doing the access flights, the aviation cruise control effects, and something. It's run by the FAA, Dr. Rangasai Halthori. I've actually interviewed him. We're going to go into that in just a minute. But basically, these guys are using jet fuel to geoengineer the damn planet. And they're doing this despite international laws to the contrary, like the Convention for Biological Diversity in 2012, which bans geoengineering. Problem with this ban? Only the United States did not sign that thing. Curious. So even though geoengineering is banned by the Convention for Biological Diversity, the U.S. doesn't really seem to give a damn, and the FAA, the German DLR, and NASA are working together to use jet biofuels to control cloud formation. So whether you like me using the word chemtrail or contrail, nobody gives a damn anymore. They are using jet fuel to control cloud production, artificial clouds. Oh, I'm not joking. Now we're going to get into the details. So this is a great little paper. Condensation trails from biofuels, kerosene blends, scoping study summary. And this is on europa.eu. May I? Wow. Great stuff up in here. Drop-in biofuel will have marginally higher energy content than kerosene, and a little more water vapor is emitted per kilogram of fuel burnt. This leads to slightly earlier onset of contrail formation in terms of flight altitude. Considerably lower emissions of soot and aerosol particles from kerosene, but this lowers the initial ice crystal number concentrations of the contrail benefit, a beneficial effect for the climate. Here's where we get interesting. The benefit per individual contrail depends strongly on ambient conditions. Let me highlight this for you guys. Meteorology, time of day. Biofuels should be used in a way that optimizes the climate benefit. Ooh, now you're talking my geoengineering language. We're doing some real detective work here, people. Pay attention. So what are they talking about? I'm going to give all these links in the details. So, this will be in a nice little report so you can send it to your senator and actually go, see, I was right. You don't have to listen to all that fear porn bullshit that never gives you a single reference you could ever use. But here's the proof in the pudding. November 11th, 2017. Uh-oh, this just happened. Synoptic control of contrail cirrus life cycles and their modification due to reduced soot number emissions. So they're actually talking about controlling soot. And if you control soot, you can actually control whether these clouds heat the planet or not, because soot is black and it self-levitates, and it goes all the way up through the ozone layer. Photophoretic self-levitation from black carbon soot? Is David Keith and Ken Caldera actually talking about floating sulfur up to the stratosphere from jet fuel? You bet your sweet ass. The problem is these guys are saying maybe we could control the condensation nuclei and produce less clouds, maybe by reducing soot emissions. But it's going to get even more complicated. So I'm going to need you all to pay very close attention. So what I did was I made this big ass playlist. Biofuels for contrail control, access flights, NASA, FAA, ACRI. This is available on my YouTube, Jim Lee, Climate Viewer. And you can see that here's a couple articles I've done up here at the top, but we get into things like this. Alternative fuel effects on contrails and cruise emissions data. And what you see is that dude is flying into chemtrails. Wait for it. There he goes. Breathe the chemtrail. Delicious chemtrail. Ooh, we got a spike. Ultrafine particles, fine particle concentration, non-volatile particle concentration. So as you can see, as he flies into the chemtrail, the little spikes on the meters, they go up and they show all the little particles in little graphs, and he'll continually fly through that wake and, take it in the face from that DC-3 that the FAA is flying, testing those biofuels. So this is called the access flights. Aviation alternative fuel effects on contrails and cruise emissions. What the hell does that mean? Alternative fuel effects, biofuels. Alt fuel is a biofuel, is an alternative fuel. It's the same thing when you go up to your gas pump and you see this gasoline contains up to 10% ethanol, because ethanol is a biofuel. And they put it in your gas tank in your car. You think they're not going to put it in planes? You're crazy. The only difference is these biofuels are for contrail control. Very interesting. So this guy in this thing over here starts talking about, apart from the alternative fuels and new combustion concepts, lean combustion, the climate effect of aviation can be reduced by steering clear of sensitive regions and times, using reliable weather forecasts for flight routing, and for prediction of individual climate effect of each flight. Now, how the hell are they going to do that? I mean, seriously. And here's You just saw the FAA doing it. Here's the Germans' DLR, Research Aircraft Falcon, measuring emissions and contrails from biofuels in the wake of DLR's ATRA, Advanced Technology Research Aircraft, during the measurement campaign in the fall of 2015, same time as the Access flights. So while the FAA and NASA are testing biofuels over California, the Germans are testing biofuels over in their neck of the woods. Is this a coincidence? Hell no. This is the real chemtrail conspiracy tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So, how the hell are you supposed to predict the individual climate effects of each path? Well, there's two things you can do. First of all, you can do this. You can create something called the Contrail Cirrus Prediction Tool, created by Ulrich Schumann. And Ulrich Schumann works for the German DLR. A Contrail Cirrus Prediction Tool, published 2009. Coincidence? That's when the volcano was. Lee et al., 2009. So 2009 was their aha moment where they all had to get their feces consolidated really quick. Ulrich Schumann comes out with this Contrail Cirrus Prediction Tool. COSIP is the nickname of it. And the FAA, with their supercomputer, tack on something called the Aviation Environmental Design Toolkit, AEDT. Videos, playlist on my freaking YouTube. And in it, you can see exactly how the AEDT works. This is from the Volt Center's stuff. AEDT is a software system that models aircraft performance in space and time to estimate fuel consumption, emissions, noise, air quality consequences. AEDT is a comprehensive tool that provides information to the FAA stakeholders. I hate that word. On each of these specific environmental impacts. AEDT facilitates environmental review activities required under NEPA, NEPA, by consolidating the modeling of the environmental impacts to a single tool. Links right there in the bottom, aedt.faa.gov. So, supercomputer, next gen, routes flights, creates grids in sky, tells planes where to burn fuel, decides whether those contrails that they are creating will cool the planet or not, then decides should they be made or should they be avoided. How can they avoid them? Ice supersaturated regions, ISSRs. So this thing, the supercomputer could literally say, fly around this ice region in the sky so you can avoid making clouds. Or if we know that these clouds will cool the planet, fly directly through them, hot dog. And then how will they guarantee that they could make the cloud? And what does this have to do with biofuels? And this is the smoking gun portion of this video, the one that everybody's always looking for. Well, I mentioned it in my EPA hearing. So kind of a bummer, right? I said this in 2015. It's a shame that 2 years later, people still don't get this stuff. But we should go through it again because eventually you will. And you're going to realize that this is not mentioned on any chemtrail website because A, they don't understand it. B, they never even tried to read it. It's been on my damn website forever. And C, nobody really wants a solution to this one because it's about fossil fuel and melting the poles and greenwashing and biofuels. Behold the magic. Impacts of aviation fuel sulfur content on climate and human health. I don't want to pronounce that guy's name. I don't even want to try it. Capadia? I'm going to leave the first one alone. Regardless, this bad boy was published in 2016, August 24, 2016. So this is published, it's been republished. It was actually published before my hearing, and then it was republished, finalized a year later. But regardless, we're going to look at the finalized version of this because it's kind of funny, kind of important. Let's do this. Impacts of aviation fuel sulfur content on climate and human health. Now, why the hell would they say that? Because We explore the impact of varying aviation fuel sulfur content between 0 and 6,000 parts per million. That's a lot of sulfur. You guys will find that out. 6,000 parts per million, way over the EPA limit. Increasing fuel sulfur content increases aviation-induced mortality. Read that again. Increasing fuel sulfur content increases aviation-induced mortality. Means it kills more people, while enhancing climate cooling through increasing the aerosol cloud albedo effect. So, putting more sulfur into jet fuel, fuel sulfur content, adding sulfur to jet fuel will cool the climate, but it will kill people. So, their solution is, in this paper, use jet biofuels on takeoff. Here it is. Applying high fuel sulfur content at aviation cruise altitude combined with ultra low sulfur jet fuel at lower altitude results in reduced aviation-induced mortality, less people will die, and will cool the planet. So, use biofuels on takeoff because it produces less soot, and people will breathe in less black dust. And the less black dust they breathe in, less mortality. Ultra low sulfur jet fuel is biofuel. We're going to use biofuels on takeoff. But then it says very curiously, applying high fuel sulfur content at aviation cruise altitude. And this was a damn head scratcher for me for a long time. Really was. Until my homeboy Max Bliss came through like a mofo. And now I'm going to show you how this works. And everybody else, whoever doubted, whoever thought that I was full of shit when I said this at the EPA hearing, I want you to eat crow tonight. First up, control unit and method for controlling the supply of a vehicle with multiple fuels. What? So you can put 2 jet fuels in one tank. I spent 2 years since I read that damn quote and realized that that was the plan. 2 jet fuels, one on takeoff, one at altitude, cool the planet. The minute I figured that out, I started pouring through schematics and looking at, oh, well, there's multiple jet fuel tanks in a plane anyway. You could just switch between them, but that didn't make enough sense. I was like, there's got to be more to this because they're like turning them off and on. See dotted broken dashes in the sky. This is an Airbus patent. Airbus is an engine maker. Multiple fuels for multiple agendas. I like that. You, sir, win. I like that. You get to go on, Chad. Look at that. And a no. Multiple fuels, multiple agendas. What's up, Pam Jones in the house? Pam, you got to come on my show. For real. By the way, I'm totally pissing on Russ Tanner and Dane and company and all the jet fuel naysayers right now, currently. You seeing this shit? Wow. All right, so control unit and method for controlling the supply of a vehicle with multiple fuels. Yeah. So a control unit for controlling the supply of a vehicle having at least one internal combustion engine with multiple fuels that has at least one input means and supplying optimization parameters, fuel parameters, operational data, blah, blah, blah. And the purpose of all this, you may be wondering, what does this have to do with, making clouds, Jim? I don't see any clouds in this. Well, shit, it's going to get worse for you guys. So here is the next patent up. This is a grant for Rolls-Royce, a fuel system comprising a vapor trail detection sensor configured to generate a first signal, which indicates the optical depth of a vapor trail. Oh, shit. That's geoengineering. I know. Right. My Chad's giving you love, Max Bliss. You're still my dog. I know who the real people are in this community. They never left me. I know who they are, and they know who I am. A fuel system comprising a vapor trail detection sensor and another sensor that indicates the optical depth of a vapor trail. Optical depth of a vapor trail means how thick that cloud is and what effect it'll have on the climate. Does it trap heat? Does it cool the planet? We need to know. So this is patent 9518965 B2. A control unit is provided responsive to the first signal and configured to generate the second signal, independence upon the first signal. The second signal defines a percentage of at least one of a first fuel composition and a second fuel composition required to produce a resultant fuel composition. At least one regulator is provided, configured to receive and be responsive to the second signal and regulate the percentage of the first and second fuel composition required to produce the resultant fuel composition. To do what, everybody? Make optical depth vapor trails that they like. Geoengineering, 2 jet fuels, Rolls-Royce, patent. I'm not done. Oh, and this one's the best. Rolls-Royce again. Thank you, Peter Swan, ×2. A method includes identifying a period of operation corresponding to a fuel supply requirement, determining at least one ambient air condition in which the machine will operate during the period, determining a duration of time in which, whilst the ambient air condition, it is required to achieve the predetermined vapor trail characteristic. No, it didn't say chemtrail. No, it didn't say contrail. No, it didn't say persistent contrail. It didn't say cirrus cloud. The motherfucker said vapor trail characteristic. Can I get a amen? Can I get a amen? Determining a resultant fuel composition for the use by the machine in the ambient air condition to achieve this characteristic, where the resultant fuel composition includes at least one of the first and second fuel composition. Oh shit, Jim. Oh shit. So I want you to tell every single chemtrail website owner out there a personal fuck you from me to them for 4 years of doubting me, for not paying attention to what I said at the EPA hearing, not doing their damn homework. Fuel delivery system, 2 fuels, sensors on the plane to see if the chemtrails are actually cooling the planet or not. Because if they're not, maybe they want to stop that, or maybe they don't. Maybe they don't. Maybe they don't even want to stop it. Why am I saying that? That sounds effing crazy, right, Jim? Oh, no. You do not know. You don't know. So let's go do this real fast. I just updated my chemtrail page. It's at climateviewer.com/cirrus clouds matter. And I actually updated all my pages. So all these pages up here at the top, please click them all. They're beautiful now. Because what I did was, instead of making them extremely long, I condensed the questions down. What makes a cirrus cloud? Carbon black, self-levitating cloud seed. Are cirrus clouds a bad thing? What are they doing about them? And are cirrus clouds melting the poles? And what you see real quick is that for a very long time, How to Change the North American Climate, 1877. Purchase of the North Pole, Jules Verne, 1889. Although they were searching for coal and not oil, readers will find that the auction of the Arctic energy reserves has a definite 21st century ring from the Gutenberg Library, talking about how Jules Verne was pretty much predicting what we're doing today. Melting the poles to get to the oil. To move Earth and melt the pole. A $190 million Newfoundland jetty would cause the axis to shift and end the iceberg menace. So they wanted to melt the damn poles for 100 freaking years. Are you kidding me? For 100 years, they said, oh, wait, 1929, Herman Oberth. Hey, let's put big-ass mirrors and lenses in space because it would be the most dreadful weapon for starters. We could fry people with those artificial atmospheric lenses like HARP makes. Or like the solar-powered satellites they're putting in space. make. But regardless, they said that this specifically, this burning glass would be great for melting the poles. Yeah. Then they said Julian Huxley from UNESCO, everybody's favorite people, said, let's explode atomic bombs at an appropriate height over the polar regions to melt the poles. What'd they do? They blew a whole bunch of nukes up over the poles. Those are all mapped on Climate Viewer 3D. I am not bullshitting you. I would try to load it. It'd probably blow up right in the middle of the video. Just, I know, pure ass evil. So we go over here, nuclear, come over here, nuclear test explosions. I'm going to stop talking while I click this red button. Pray for me. Oh, that was, dude. Oh, Kelly, did you see that? You see it? What? Shout out to Patrick Cozy and the boys at Cesium. I just upgraded it to version 1.39. Damn, that loaded fast. Oh, beautiful. So anyway, here's all the nuclear explosions. And in particular, the Russians really went for it. Boy, they went up to the Arctic and just blew that shit right up. You cannot make this up. So then after they tried to nuke the Arctic to melt it, they of course fracked all that. But whatever. Back to the story. So they did do that. And then these two Russian dudes, Gorodsky and Valentin Cherenkov, said, let's place a metallic ring, potassium particle ring into space so we can melt poles. And then what happened? The U.S. military, gotta love them, Westford Needles put 480 million copper dipole antennas into space and created that metal ring. Yeah, and the MIT scientist, Dr. Rick Shankman, went off to say that this is probably the dumbest thing ever done in the history of science. I mean, seriously. 480 million antennas that look like that, you just throw them in space because you want to create an artificial ionosphere and possibly melt the poles. So here's why am I talking about all this? Because I said in 1961, they knew all this shit was going to happen. Weather and climate modification, problems and prospects. Right here, 1961. The possibility must be examined that the residence times for stratospheric contamination are so long that significant concentrations can build up from supersonic transport operations if the contaminants introduced into the lower stratosphere remain there on average of 10 years. About 10 times longer than is presently suspected, supersonic transports could double the concentration of water vapor naturally present. This would affect the radiation balance, but not in a very important degree, according to the model calculations by this moron, who didn't even have a computer. Assuming fixed relative humidity, Manabe finds that a 5-fold increase of stratospheric water vapor would raise the temperature of the Earth's surface by 1.6 degrees Celsius. So wait a minute. 1961, this dude says water vapor coming out of planes is going to heat the planet by 1.6 degrees Celsius. Flash forward to today. Does the IPCC mention this? No. They just say we want to limit it to 1.5. So Jules Verne, 1.5 would be great. This dude, Manabe, 1.6 degrees from the water vapor alone. And then we get this. Cloud blanket warms up melting Greenland ice sheets. Greenland ice sheet melts more when it's cloudy. Clouds enhance Greenland's ice sheet melt water runoff. So, I mean, these are legit as shit. This is nature.com. This is where it's at. Okay. So now, and by the way, these are published after my EPA hearing. Thank you very much. I spoke in 2015. All of these papers talking about how clouds are melting the poles came out in 2016. You jackasses in the university community really need to get your feces consolidated. Oh, my wife. Oh, I love you. My wife's always there to save me. No, they wrote that in May, honey. Oh, God. Every time I get a big head, my wife's right there to deflate it. Thank you, baby. Anyway, I didn't read that shit before I said it. I just knew it in my heart of hearts. But regardless, that's what's really going on here. So why is all of this important? Because I want you guys to see this. Because this is the true chemtrail conspiracy. The new Cold War. For drilling rights in the Alaska, North Slope, North Pole, Greenland ice sheet. This is what's really going on today, guys. And this is what this is all about, in my personal opinion. Fossil fuel guys, good Lord, make that sound go away. Fossil fuel guys knew that their planes were going to melt the poles. Now, all of a sudden, scientists, guys, they're like, you know, this could be bad. People are fighting over areas of high probability of oil and gas reserves. See all that? It's like Saudi Arabia under ice. And you think they want to quit going for this while they lie about their IPCC agendas and their greenwashing and everything? No. None of that has stopped. So these guys are up there. Their goal, frack the Arctic. All right. Great article on The Guardian. This is the dopest little interface. It stops and goes to a video. I mean, whoever coded this, man, you a badass. Man, please read this article. New Cold War. Anyway, so that's a thing. And the thing is, people don't want to talk about it because it's bad. I mean, this could be really bad. New Cold War, Russia sends troops and missiles to Arctic as Putin stakes a claim for region's oil and gas reserves. Oh, shit, this sounds like World War III kind of stuff. So while everybody's talking about global warming and pretending like they care about the Arctic, they are doing everything they can to frack the North Pole. They have had this plan for 100 years. Their plan has not stopped today. It's not going to stop anytime soon. So, I don't know why I just like turned it off there. What was that all about? You know, is there something nasty on the side or something? Oh God, let's just close that before we see some nastiness. Anyway, so here's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I believe this is all about, you know, oil and gas. And every time I look at it any further, I see things like this. The Angels proposal. Arctic natural gas extraction, liquefaction, and sales. Hey, we want to save the Arctic, don't we? So if people are talking out of both sides of their neck, they're probably greenwashing. And if you're talking about the airline industry, they certainly are greenwashing. They do not want people to know how this works. They want everybody online confused. They certainly don't want you talking about their climate change impacts. Oh, wait, isn't that like the most visible climate change thing on the planet? Because like I can't see most climate change. I can't see the Pacific garbage patch. I can't see all the poison in the water. Shit's invisible. I can't see all the cloud seed and chemtrails and all that stuff. Well, wait, I can see those clouds. So really the problem is that everybody online, they're just pissed off because they see clouds and they don't know why. And a lot of people have a lot of confusions about what they do. But for me personally, I say cirrus clouds matter because a cloud's a cloud's a cloud. Oh, wait until it's actually melting the poles. Everybody's confused, pissed off about it, calling it everything from geoengineering to Morgellon smart dust and all this bullshit in between. The truth of the matter is the proof is in the patents, people. And when you look at the patents, what do you see? They don't look good. Hey, there's ice supersaturated regions in the sky. You know, we could avoid them if we need to. But, you know, if it's going to cool the planet and we can make a buck off that, fly right on through, dog. Fly right on through. So this is where it's funny. It's kind of like half of what the chemtrail debunkers is saying is true and half of what the chemtrail believers is saying is true. What? That's like, you know, like somewhere in the middle is the truth, you know? It's kind of like that. So that's where I've been that's why I ride the fence, because I don't believe either camp. I think both camps are mostly full of shit. And the reason why is because most of this information, except for these 3 patents I put on at the end of this video, were already on my website and have been for 2 years. Problem is people don't want to understand it because it's complicated. But the problem with complicated things are if you want to actually make them go away, you still got to know all the facts. And luckily for you guys, I do know all the facts because I got all this memorized. You see how I just kind of like said all this stuff right off the top of my head, just put a couple links up there. Point being, I'm headed to the Climate Change Conference of the Year, the 21st Conference on Planet Inadvertent Weather Modification. I'm going to take them my solution, the Environmental Modification Accountability Act of 2018. I hope that you guys will support me, because this jet fuel thing is one of 10 separate topics that I'll be talking about. It's just number 9. This video, I barely even scratched the... Dane Wigington will not be there. Who the hell said that? Dane Wigington wouldn't show up in that place. He's not an activist. Jesus Christ. You people don't know anything about that sort of thing, do you? Anyway, so no. And I will back that up. So Dane Wigington will not be at this conference, because when I told him about the SRM 2015 conference, I told him, tell everybody you know, tell them to go protest. Did he tell anybody? No. Whenever there's any kind of conference where geoengineers actually show up, has Dane ever told anybody to ever go there? No. Will he ever do that? No. Why? Because he believes global warming is real. Methane is going to kill everybody on the planet. And go Google methane /geoengineeringwatch.org and giggle your ass off. He is a fraud. He has stolen my personal opinion. The guy's a fraud. Please read everything he's ever written. Please watch all of his videos. You may find 2 or 3 things that are beneficial to you. I don't know. You probably get scared. You'll probably be addicted to the fear, and you probably have a bad time as a result of it. You'll definitely get a lot of photos that don't have shit to do with what I'm talking about. And you will be made to look like a fool. So, difference between me and Dane, he has papers written about him. I have papers citing me. End of story. So, that being said, I cover all of these 10 topics better than anybody, with all the references and more. So if you want to hear about water vapor pollution, all 440 nuclear reactors are mapped on climateviewer.org. So, and please, and don't believe me. Don't take my word for it. You go review what Mr. Wig has to say, and you come review my stuff, because the difference between Mr. Wig and me is A, I've debated him previously and whooped his ass. B, he will ban you, delete you, block you if you link to climateviewer.com, climateviewer.org, or weathermodificationhistory.com on any of his social media or his website. You will be deleted. If you want to post some of his crap on my website, go right ahead. Ain't hurting me one bit. In fact, I hope that you will read his stuff and then read mine as well. That's all I ask. He may be right about things, and the day we all agree is the day we could all be wrong. But that's that. Okay, so enough talking about he who shall not be mentioned again, because he does not deserve the attention. And let's continue talking about this beautiful infographic, which I created myself, because I'm a talented artist to boot and a programmer, and I did all my own damn research and gave you the links so you can learn to fish. Ionospheric heaters, sounding rockets, satellites, lasers, cloud seeding, cloud ionizers, stratospheric aerosol injection, ship tracks, contrail-induced cirrus, water vapor pollution. All of these, I'm going to print this sheet out that you're looking at right here. I'm going to laminate it. I'm going to carry it up to the geoengineers themselves. And I'm going to say, we, the people of the internet, know about all these things. And we think that you've got away with it for far too long. And we are demanding you tell us before you ever do it. And we're going to build a sensor network to catch you in the act if you lie. And we expect you to have a sensor network also. So there's actually 2 sensor networks. Government, university, your sensor network, and then ours. The citizen-powered climate viewer in my backyard, streaming to the internet so everybody can see the sky anytime, anywhere in the world. And that is going to be how we actually win. Demand transparency up front. Get verification on the rear. You cannot catch somebody geoengineering the sky. Rogue geoengineering is undetectable. Weather warfare is undetectable, even though it's been illegal since 1978. And my solution, I believe, will actually change that. So I hope you guys will support me. There are links to the GoFundMe at the top of climateviewer.com. I'm the man for this job. I do not want to do this. This is a painful experience for me. It's kind of stressful. But you know what? I'm going to spend 3 days in Austin. going to their presentations, listening and asking questions at the end, putting on my little suit, and going someplace that I'm not comfortable because I'm hood. Okay. I'm this high society shit that they do with the ball. It's not me. Okay. I am not a hero. I'm anyway. So, but I'm going to go up there and I'm going to tell them straight to their face, like a prison guard, like a Boy Scout, like the activist that I really am. And I'm going to deliver this damn message and I'm going to get their support because so far I've had 5 geoengineers agree to my solution. I'm going to get all of them to agree. And when I get all of them to agree, it's not going to matter if all these chemtrail website people agree. It doesn't matter at all. All I need is a little bit of consensus, some understanding, and then some funding to get these damn sensors built. And you know what? We will put an end to weather warfare. At least we will put an end to the secrecy. So I don't want to hear anybody else blaming climate change for tornadoes and hurricanes any effing longer. My solution is a way to get real facts. It's the only solution that I've seen presented that actually will deal with secret geoengineering, with the climate changers, the actual climate changers, the people who have been modifying the weather for 100 years without any accountability, no transparency, and of course, weapons of plausible, deniable mass destruction. The difference between nuclear warheads and weather warfare is this. Nuclear explosions were banned for a reason. I mean, come on. The shit got out of hand. I mean, 2053 nuclear explosions. This is Nevada. Most people don't know this. This is in America, okay? That's a lot of freaking nuclear bombs just in America, okay? This is in Nevada. You go look up the downwinders. These guys breed this stuff. Do I believe in HARP here? Correct. Yes. An ionospheric heater is a HARP, and a HARP is an ionospheric heater. Yes, ma'am. We believe in them. They do bad things, and I do not approve of them. In fact, I am the world's expert on this topic, HARP. I will put myself next to Nick Baggage and teach him things about HARP. I know more about HARP than anybody. In fact, if you come here to climateviewer.org, thank you for pointing repeatedly, Kelly. All of the HARPs of the world are right here under electromagnetic facility. I know. They're under ionospheric heaters, and you can actually fly over to HARP. It's right here. And I actually made an even better one. Let's go turn the satellite on so they can see what HARP looked like. There's HARP. Okay. That's HARP. Beautiful, right? You click on this and you actually see the details for the, oh, hell, I forgot to update. Yeah, I forgot my thing. I forgot to update my CSS when I updated it. No, you can't read it. Oh, we'll have to go update it after the video. Regardless, that's all of, I have all the ionospheric heaters. I mapped them out. Yes. That's the Gakona, Alaska Ionospheric Research Instrument at HARP. HARP is all of this together. In fact, I mapped all of HARP, which is this, and you can see it has things like a digisigned, a optical shelter, lots of stuff. Lots of stuff there. This is the optical shelter and the ryometer and all that. You click that and you can see there's a picture of it. I'm very nosy. I know a lot about HARP. Okay. And that's a ryometer. By the way, this map you're looking at, I made in 2012. So, boy, we just got off the topic. Anyway, so yeah, these nukes, this is all an issue. So that's why I'm going to this conference. I think we're going to wrap up with that. I just want to poke it in the face one more time. Where's my damn patent at? Oh, this is just great. 2 jet fuels, making clouds with an electronic control unit. Tell that to the guys at Metabon. Tell it to the guys at Kaku. Hey, the pilot doesn't even have to turn them off and on. You know that? That the supercomputer NextGen has this thing called the Aviation Environmental Design Toolkit, which is a software program that can send a signal to the plane, that can signal the electronic control unit in the jet fuel and actually switch between 2 jet fuels to turn clouds on and off. Are you shitting me? No, that's real. That is real as rain. Rolls-Royce patents. Oh, I love you, Max Bliss. This is what happens when somebody reads a story and actually goes and does a little research behind it to find out if it's true. Now, I was busy as hell doing all of the things on my website, my map and weather mod history, so I didn't have time to look into this. And God bless him, Max Bliss started looking into the sulfuric acid and carbon black soot stuff. He has sent me so many cool ass papers. Harold Save, too. I'm going to give him credit. Harold Save, he's the one that shot me this synoptic paper up here, somewhere in this pile. I think it's right about here. Anyway, yeah, so there it is. And Harold sent me that one. So I got peoples, we got peoples who are still all about the good fight, but I really hope that people will dig into this jet fuel stuff, because you can't put it any more clear than right there. Jet biofuel enlisted for contrail control. Contrail control. Can I get a amen? Oh, dude, this feels epic. So I don't want to hear any more shit out of any more jet fuel haters. This video was made specifically tonight to link to them. So anybody says jet fuel in any kind of mocking ass way in the future, I'm going to send them this video and go, shut up. I was right. I've been right since 2013. I said it in 2015 to the EPA. Do your damn homework. And unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing's going to get better. It's not. Epic.